bring up the man of the hour. This is a very nice high-dollar flyer put out by our opponent. One of the things on the flyer put out by our opponent says, it's a quote from Chris Peden. So I'd like to read you the quote from Chris Peden that Ron Paul has on his flyer. Because we think if he thinks so highly of Chris Peden, we'll share that. I have an immense amount of respect for Ron Paul. Politics has a way of forcing people to go against their core principles for political gain, and that has never been the case for Ron Paul. Quote, Chris Peden, January of 07. That is in fact our position about Dr. Paul. We have a tremendous amount of respect for Dr. Paul. However, we believe that on several vital issues to this nation, which Chris Peden is going to talk about, Dr. Paul is profoundly and consistently and deeply wrong.
Yes.
We believe quite strongly that his positions, at best, are politically naive, and at worst, they are incredibly dangerous not only to America and the world we live in, but they're dangerous for America and her place in the world. And so it's important that you understand that even though there is one person out of 435 in Congress, if we have the right person in Congress, then we're going to live in a safer, stronger world. And we think Chris Peden is that person. You heard from Ron Paul's camp all the time that Chris Peden lied to Ron Paul and told him he would never run against him. Well, that's actually a bit of a distortion of the facts, so let me set the record straight. Chris Peden and I come from Galveston County. Part of Galveston County is in CD 22, which is the race that currently has Nick Lamson as their congressman. Last year we went through a travesty, an absolute travesty, where we lost a solid Republican seat that Tom DeLay had for many, many years to Nick Lamson. One of the reasons that we lost that seat is because after the election was over and Tom DeLay resigned, there was in fact a write-in election. So we lost that seat, a strong Republican seat, because of a write-in to Democrat. One of the things that Chris Peden feels rather strongly about and visited Dr. Paul about was that very scenario. If Dr. Paul felt so strongly that he would in fact be the President of the United States, then we could very well have a CD 22 situation in CD 14. And what Chris Peden said to Ron Paul was this: if you're going to run for president, then I'm going to put my name on the ballot because I do not want to see the voters of the district CD 14 go through the same thing that CD 22 did. So when you talk to those Ron Paul folks, let them know that Chris Peden did what he did to represent your interests and your votes. And this is not, and I repeat this, let me repeat this clearly, particularly for our friends in the media. This seat does not belong to Ron Paul. It belongs to these people in the 14th District. We are running to represent the traditional Republican values of the people in the 14th District of Texas. It is not Ron Paul's seat. We don't believe that a nomination can be bought. We certainly don't believe that it can just be, we believe that it must be earned. And so that's why Chris Peden is out here in Lake Jackson, why he was at Baytown today, earlier, why tomorrow he'll be probably over at Anahuac and then Katy. We're taking the message about Chris Peden all over this district because we believe that you earned it. So if Ron Paul feels that way, this is what we'd like you to do. We have sent a very nice letter to Ron Paul asking him to devote 2 hours, just 2 hours, between now and March the 4th to debate the issues of this campaign with Chris Peden. We've said we'll debate Ron Paul anywhere at any time. We're here in Lake Jackson today. If Ron Paul wants to pop by, we have it right now. What we want to do is debate Ron Paul on the issues, and we only wanted 2 hours. So when you see Ron Paul or his supporters, ask them if they've got 2 hours for the people in this district. Just 2 hours, and you send me a quick phone call and we'll set the debate up. KCB Radio has wanted to debate. KTRH Radio has wanted to debate. We want to debate, and we think it's only fair for the voters in this district to find out what those issues are. And the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm really trying to be good, another media person has come, is that, listen, this is supposed to be Ron Paul's hometown, and we can certainly appreciate and respect that. But we want to tell you one thing. The voters in this room who are here to support Chris Peden actually live, work, and recreate in the 14th Congressional District. We He didn't have to bus anybody in from Dallas. And so we believe this. We believe that Lake Jackson in Missouri County is, in fact, Chris Peden territory. And if Ron Paul has to bus people in from Dallas, perhaps he should consider another hometown.